Hello, everybody.
Hello, Teresa. Good
Good
morning.
afternoon.
Good morning and welcome to our webinar today. Thank you for joining us. My name is Anna Balázs and I am the host of this session today. I'd like to share some important technical information before we get started. All audience lines are muted to ensure the good audio quality. We record this webinar and make it available on YouTube and our webinar registration page for your later viewing. We answer questions at the end of the presentation. To submit a question, please enter it into the Q&A field in the WebEx platform. You can send your questions at any time during the presentation. And our presenter today will be Teresa Grunewald, Global Business Development Manager for AVIOTEC at Bosch Building Technologies. And she will talk about our safety solutions with AVIOTEC for the waste and recycling industry. And now I turn over to Teresa to begin his presentation. Teresa, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Anna, for that nice introduction. And yeah, also from my side, hello and welcome everybody to today's webinar about overcoming the challenges of the fire detection in waste and recycling facilities. So I would like to start that webinar, and yeah, Anna also introduced myself. So I'm located in Munich in the building technologies department, so on the fire business unit, and I'm responsible for AVIOTEC, our video-based fire detection solution. But that's enough from my side. I want to start first with your side or with your customer side. And I want to start today with the real safety goals or the goals of the safety managers. So we defined in some interviews with safety managers 4 main targets or main goals they want to achieve in an industry. The first one is for sure to ensure safety. And safety, yeah, a lot of different parts belonging to that. So on the one hand side, it's the staff, and that's our main goal. We want to keep people in a building, outside of a building, as safe as possible with fire detection solutions. So all our fire detectors are developed to ensure that goal. But besides the people and the human life, we also want to make sure that machinery, assets, and the whole building is ensured and safe. So as soon as a fire is starting and it's spreading, the more and more it spreads, the building is burning down. This we want to achieve that it's not the case. We want to achieve that a fire is as soon as possible detected so that it can be extinguished as fast as possible to reduce that pain point. The second goal is for sure to ensure continuity. You can imagine that if a fire starts, everything has to stop. And for business, it's not good to have an interruption. Also for the waste and recycling business, it's not good. You can imagine that when a recycling site needs to be shut down, where should the waste go? How do they gain their money? And what should they do with all the rest of the fire at that place? So here we want to ensure, or the safety manager wants to ensure business continuity. All of that is then concluding in a risk minimization. So to see where to place things, where to store, what kind of waste or what kind of materials, how to work with machinery, how to work with heat work, and so on, to minimize the risk in that area. And the last part is that for sure everything what I was talking about previously needs to be complying to policies. So here we need to make sure that everything is belonging or based on that policies so that it's really worked out and in a good way constructed. I don't like to start with saying some things about the product. I want to see why that product or why we are talking today about this kind of solution, especially for the waste and recycling industry. And for that, I brought some statements out of the newspapers with me and also some photos. So what you can see here, that's different areas, like it's one of Canada, it's the other one is out of US, the next one is out of Spain, and I hope that in that morning session also people from Asia are joining. So here also in Singapore. different times. It's 2021, it's 2016, but all over the place we can see that in waste and recycling facilities, especially, fires can start. And when they start, they are producing a lot of smoke, as you can see on the right upper picture, and that smoke can be toxic. Yeah, it can be spreading fast, and it can cause a lot of damage for the company, but also for the environment and for the people around. So, and based on that fact, we took out also two statements, and the one is from Waste 360. Maybe some of you already saw a webinar or some information on their webpage that a lot of different fires occurred in the past, and out of these fires, a lot have been in the pulp and paper industry and the plastics industry, but also a lot have been in the waste and recycling industry. And yeah, the other thing is that insurance companies, based on that fires, they are not really willing again to insure these kind of facilities. So maybe you faced that also, or you heard about it, but insurance companies, they are now really skeptical in how they will insure waste and recycling facilities based on these fire events which has happened. And yes, coming from these part of the customer side, so from the safety manager, from the guys around, from our interviews we took, now to the site itself. And where do we see these potential fire sources, and how could fire start and spread in these areas? We decided on the three main areas where we think, and based on the facts we had, know that fires can start. And the first one is the type of waste. If you think about waste which is stored in these facilities, there's like flammable chemicals. There might be batteries or also electrical components, yeah, wasted in that areas. Also, at the moment, you know, these hand gels regarding the COVID crisis, but all of that, it has a lot of high fire load inside. So when they are kind of combined together in a waste, or also just they are stored together as a waste hill, this can easily be a self-ignition heat, for example, in that area, or just because they are starting to burn because they are combined together, and all of that can cause a fire. Going on to the second part, it's the service area. And service area means that workers at the conveyor belts, for example, hot work or heat works, equipment which is transported by the conveyor belts. If conveyor belts are starting to get hot because of the wheels and so on, or this hot work at the conveyor belts afterwards still having some heat, and then in combination with that waste which is transported, that can cause a fire as well. And then we might have electricity around, we've got dust in the air, and then you can also have sparks in the air, and all of that combined with the dust and the waste can cause a fire. It's really just the normal way of working, which in the end can then affect a fire, even though that safety instructions are available and everything is ensured to be as safe as possible. You don't know when a fire could start, and these points could be a source of that. And then the third part for sure is the storage area. So in the storage area, what you can see is that there are packages, there's kind of there's, for example, also the waste just stored, but it's in indoor and outdoor areas. And now you can imagine that for outdoor areas, don't know if you've got a fire detection system there, but if it is directly close to a building, it can spread on the building so that you have a fire then in the outside and in the indoor area. Storage areas are also, yeah, kind of attractive to commit arson. So in that case also people might be going on site when they are not allowed and start a fire. And then it's the normal way of weather conditions, like heat, wind, and that in combination with the waste, yeah, it can easily start a fire, and then the wind is spreading it around. And that is what we also saw in the statements from the different magazines and in the statement from the Race 360, for example. But here we see that there are different ways a fire can start and different areas also where it might be needed to have an additional system installed. So let's go on and see why AVIOTEC now. So we are talking about a video-based fire detection solution today. And why is that a solution for these areas? And there are also other fire detectors. What is their hurdle in these areas? What is the challenge for them? And the challenge, what we see is the high fire load. So because of that high fire load, a fire is spreading really fast. And here you need a really, really early detection, because as earlier as possible you can detect and extinguish it, the less it can spread around. And in difficult environment, for example, or also in the environment from waste and recycling where we see high ceilings, a standard fire detection system is just taking too long, or the dust and the humidity is kind of disturbing the detectors, which we normally know. So thinking about an aspiration smoke system, it is sucking in the dust all the time, and then the pipe is going to be filled with the dust out of this whole production cycle. And you need to blow it out all the time. Every second week, for example, it needs to be cleaned up. So, and this is a lot of maintenance effort, and they can also cause false alarms with that dust and so on. So here it's the challenge for these kind of detection systems, where AVIOTEC would be now a really good solution to fix it. And then the third part is the outdoor environment, because in general, the fire detection systems are only developed and norm-wise also just designed to be installed in the indoor area. And with a camera installed in a housing, you can easily have it also in the outdoor environment, close to a building with a roof on top, something like that, so that AVIOTEC, our video-based fire detection solution, will then be your solution to overcome all these challenges a standard fire detector might have. I want to go a little bit deeper in the use cases I was talking about. So let's see where we really face these challenges or hurdles, and where fires can start and how that can be solved by AVIOTEC. So fire detection, it really needs a fast detection so that we can also fast react on that. I said that high fire load, when you've got mixed waste, really needs a high speed of detection, because if not, it is spreading fast. And if you now look at the picture on the right hand side, you see that big hill of paper, you see the machinery, so you see a lot of different things can start a fire. And if that waste paper hill now starts to burn, it's spreading to the top, but also to the side where the other paper is stored. It can then go over also to the machinery, and then you've got a big fire. If you can directly hear, and if it's starting at the bottom, and you can directly trigger that fire and detect it, and somebody can go with the fire extinguisher and stop it, then that's the easiest way, and you do not have a lot of problem because of that fire. So fast detection for fast reaction. The difficult environments I was also talking about. Now you see also the conveyor belts moving, all that waste you see in the back where the light is coming through. It's really a kind of dusty, it seems like a foggy area, but that's the dust. And in that cases, really, if you just install the camera in a housing, that's not a problem for it, because it can look, it can watch, and it can detect a smoke and a flame, and the maintenance effort is really less in that case. Then if you've got also humidity and dust, it's not, as I said, a problem for the camera. It can also detect even though there is dust or humidity in that area. So also here, the housing is avoiding that there is like a real maintenance problem here in that case. And the fourth use case, and that's one of my favorite ones, I have to say, because it's talking about the outdoor detection. And I really like the photo, what we can see on the right-hand side, because for me, it's really that kind of use case in the waste and recycling management. You've got an area with a roof on top, but you also got an area where you just have like the waste outside with no roof or something else, but there's works going on, so the heat, the sunlight, the wind all can influence that the fire is starting. And under this condition, so especially for that now outdoor area without a roof, where would you place a detector? It's just not possible to place one. And here you can add a camera at one of the poles or something. You can monitor that area, even though that there's no roof on top of that waste. So why should we use AVIOTEC as a camera? And now you also see the product. So the first time it's that kind of camera, and it's an early fire and smoke detection. So you can detect flames or smoke. It's working really great in harsh environments. So talking about dust and humidity. And it's a really, really fast outdoor fire and smoke detection. In that case, I'm saying only solution because it's compared to other fire detectors like point type detectors or aspiration smoke systems, which are just not able to be installed in that areas. It's not that they could not, but yeah, it's just not possible here. And it is already successfully implemented in some recycling industries, for example, in Italy, but also in Germany. And I will come to these references also at the end of my presentation. As time is also running and I could talk and talk and talk, let's see now for you, coming from the side, from the customer side and the pain points and so on, now to the way how it works. I think maybe some of you already know how it works and others had never heard about it, and the other ones would say, I already installed it, which would be really great. But how does AVIOTEC really work? So I brought 4 videos with me, and 2 of them you already see now, and I hope that it starts. Yes, so it works. On the left-hand side, we can see a flame, and on the right-hand side, we can see a smoke. And that's in color mode of the camera. And what you will see also is that as soon as there's a small rectangle available, or you see the small rectangle around the flame on the left-hand side, this is already an alarm. So here we can see that the camera already triggered a flame alarm in that case. So on the right-hand side, you see a smoke moving. The smoke is not hardly visible in the picture because it's not that visible like the flame, but also here we can already see that detection. So you can see this small, I know it's small, but you might see it, small rectangle around the smoke, and this is the detection of the camera. As soon as one of that is in the field of view of the camera, it will be detected. An alarm is going to be triggered at a system which is installed. What I want to show you next is that it's not only working in color mode, but also in black and white mode. And the black and white mode is especially then important if you've got an area, for example, the outdoor area, where you do not have light available in the night. So for example, there's the camera can work up to or down to 2 lux. So as soon as we have 2 lux illumination in that area, that's fine. It's already really dark, I have to say. But if we are going below that, or we go to 0 lux, for example, so no light available, maybe the moon is covered with clouds, so it's really, really dark outside, the camera can still trigger a smoke or a flame if you installed some infrared illuminators. So non-visible light for us, but visible light for the camera in that case. And then it can also work like you see here in the black and white mode. And also here it is triggering. Here you can see now the red rectangle, and on the left-hand side it's a small yellow one. And this is the detection of the camera. What you can also see, and this I like at that video on the left, on the right-hand side, is that there's a different outline. And that outline and the green line below that is the general movement detection of the Bosch cameras we have. And the AVIOTEC, one of like the video-based fire detection, is combining the fire detection and this kind of video movement detection. So there's different intelligent video analytics available on the cameras from Bosch. And in AVIOTEC, these two can run in parallel. So you can have the fire detection, and on the same side, it's also a video surveillance camera, which might be also useful in the outdoor environment if somebody is going on the premise who is not allowed and you can detect them. So all of that is a good combination possibility. And then it's an easy thing. So you've got the camera, which you saw in the picture on the one slide, and this camera is monitoring the scenery. And why is it really an earlier fire detection than the other detectors? It doesn't need the smoke to reach the camera because it just needs to be in the field of view. And if you think about, or you also might look up to the ceiling and see a point type detector, yeah, smoke every time needs to reach that detector at the ceiling so that it is able to trigger. How should it trigger if the smoke is not going to the detector? And for the camera, it's not needed that the smoke or the heat of the flame is going directly to the camera, because it just needs to be in the field of view, like here on the left-hand side or at the videos we saw before. So, and then intelligent algorithms inside of the camera are triggering if it is, or they are analyzing if that is really a flame or smoke or not. And then if it is a flame and the verification time is done and it's still a flame, it's still a smoke, then this alarm is going to be transmitted to, for example, a video management system or also to a fire alarm panel as an internal alarm. And that's the whole magic, I would say, behind, but that's just something what we see on our side. But what is going on inside of the camera? So how is that algorithm working? And for that, I brought two slides with me because we've got a physical algorithm, and now since some months, we also have an artificial intelligence algorithm in attachment to the physical algorithm. But let's go back to the basic. So the physical algorithm of the camera is really focusing on the physical flame and smoke model. And I just brought some major parts of it with me because I don't want to go too deep into the algorithm. I have to be honest, I also don't understand it fully. This is part of the engineer and the guy who's working day by day only on the algorithm. But I like to really have a small part of understanding of it. And the flame model is based on the fact that the flame every time has a flame core, and based on that core, it also has a whole flame shape, and it has a flickering. So the flickering is, for example, every time above the flame. It's not beneath, it's not below the flame. It can be beneath, it can be above, but that is then giving the whole flame shape. And based on the background color or illumination, the camera also knows how the flame should look like. More yellow, more white, more red. And this is all influencing the algorithm and the analytics of the camera. Coming to the smoke, so you might know how smoke is looking like, but there's also a physical model behind. It's based on the fact that the smoke starting from a hot source, so the fire, and then the hot air, so the smoke, is moving. And it moved like half transparent to transparent objects going up. And in our case, we saw not every time only up, it's also going sideways because of air influences. So, and that is then going to be triggered by the camera or analyzed by the camera. And what is really important is that it can distinguish between the uprising smoke and an uprising or sideways rising object. A truck, for example, with a gray back, yeah. If that is moving slowly to the side, for sure we don't want that one to trigger the flame or the smoke alarm. And all of these is influencing the algorithm and the development. To have a great algorithm behind, we developed that further. So we started in 2016 with a camera, and since then, every half a year, close to every half a year, we developed a new firmware algorithm, and with that firmware algorithm and another one, of a new firmware version, the algorithm, was better working. So what I mean with better is that some things where we had a false alarm in the past because we just did not know that the camera would trigger that as a false alarm in these cases, it was adjusted, and now we have a more robust algorithm behind, so that you now can be sure that if you use the more robust setting of the camera, these false alarms are not going to be triggered. So, and that is a continuous improvement of the camera. And that continuous improvement now has also the next step taken to add a physical supported AI. A little bit technical. We've got the physical algorithms I was talking about. So smoke and the flame model. All of that, like up to 2050, I don't know how many different analytics the camera is running for the flame and the smoke. And all of these information now analyzed by the camera are going into an artificial intelligence, which is also inside the camera. So, and these information are now analyzed by that pre-trained artificial intelligence based on videos and movies and installations done in the past and received also from customers saying you can use that for development sources, for development reasons. And then this artificial intelligence is deciding if it is really a flame or not, or smoke or not. And this led us to the fact that we can now have this 2 lux illumination level or even 0 lux with the infrared illumination. And we also have a higher detection range and a more false alarm robustness. Short break just to let you kind of understand what I was talking about. And I know that's kind of a technical part of it, but you will get the presentation after the webinar. And if you have any further questions, for sure, then also you can ask myself, you can reach out to our marketing team. They will follow up your questions as well with me. Last part of it, and then I'm also available for the questions, are the references. So as I said, we've got one nice installation in Italy. I'm honest, I'm not able to name the customer because it's not an official reference, but I can say that it's in Italy, and we've got a lot of different installations already. So it's not only one place, it's different sites of that customer, and they are really happy with that installation and also with the solution. And the other one, which is an official reference here in Germany, it's the Moon Media company, and it's kind of pulp and paper, but also waste. So this is why I took it with me here as well. They are having a waste recycling site where they store the waste paper, and this is here in that case monitored with AVIOTEC because they really wanted to have an early fire detection, and also they are really happy, and they already have one video shared with us where you can see that it is needed to have a really early fire detection. That's, I would say, enough from my voice in that moment. No, I will answer your questions for sure as well. But if you want to get more information, if you might have an application in your head, maybe you want to see how that works, we are every time open to perform demonstrations on site. We've got a lot of different people in the countries from us as Bosch who are then able to perform the demo. We've got system integrators, or maybe you are a system integrator and you want to install it at a customer site. So just open that QR code with your mobile phone and you will be directly reconnecting, or you will be directed to our webpage, especially for the waste and recycling industry. And here you can fill out a form right at the bottom of the website, which is saying book your demo or speak to an expert. You might also find that one. And just fill it out. It doesn't mean that you directly book a demo and you have to pay something or whatever. No, just to get in contact with us so that you are interested in having a demo performed on site. And just let us know your application in your head, or if you've got further questions, for sure, just take that also and fill it out. And now I just want to see if there are already questions. Let me see that I can see them also in the chat. Yeah, so there's one question regarding it sometimes takes some time that they are popping up. So one question, there's a question if we have a real video, how this camera work. So the videos from this fire lab and the ones in the outdoor environment, this have been real videos from the camera, but there's also the currently checking which videos we can share with you, but you can also go on YouTube and search for some links or videos. We will share them also with you in the follow-up email, where customers took some videos from their demonstration, so that would be available as well. And as soon as we've got something to share, we will also share with you then a link where you can find them. The second question was that regarding the standardization. So video-based fire detection is a really new technology also now. It's already also that we have it since 2016. For the fire market, it's still a really new technology. And regarding standardization, it's really hard that the EN or ISO, that they are kind of developing an own standard based on that. The ISO is currently under development of a standard. So as soon as that standard is available, we will for sure certify. Now I have it. Certify the camera on that standard. But since now the VDS, so from Germany, they generated a new standard for video-based fire detection solutions since 2019. And based on that standard, the AVIOTEC will also be certified, and it's already VDS certified, but there will be a new certification based on that official standard now. And yeah, in the future, we will see we've got also a CSIRO certification for Australia. So there are smaller certifications popping up, but we hope that ISO and EN are moving on and getting a little bit faster in development of their, of their standards as well. So it's still kind of an ongoing fact and an ongoing way that there's a real standard available, not an outline or something, but we want to have it certified on a video-based fire detection standard and not on a smoke detector or flame detector standard, because it's something really different, and as you saw also has some benefits which are not like applicable for the other standards. And yeah, there was one. No problem. I'm also talking a lot, so the guy, he was writing that maybe he missed that one, but he wants to know if the AVIOTEC also can do video security in parallel. And yes, that is working. So all of the intelligent video analytic features you might know or you saw from other Bosch cameras, this is running in parallel on the same camera. So when you power the camera up, the fire detection is available, so it directly works. For the video analytics then, so to see if the people is line crossing or if there's a lost object or a left object, or what do we else have? Field entry, exit only, all of these kind of security things. This is working in parallel, but you just need to set it up. So the next question was, how does the camera react on low smoke or other car fires like kerosene fires, for example? So low smoke, I would imagine that it's maybe a slow smoke or something which is not really visible, so really less smoke, so really smoke where you can look through, for example. So the camera needs a smoke which has an opacity of 40%. it's kind of that it just needs to be visible in the field of view, and then it's going to be analyzed, and then you have it triggered. It can be, there's a setting possibility that you can add edit the verification time. You can add also masks, that it is more sensitive in other areas, in one area than in the other areas. But this opacity needs to be there so that we are not triggering every small fog or something as a smoke. So this is why we have these 40% opacity. Maybe Anna, just that you remember me afterwards, that I add this slide maybe here in the presentation as an add-on slide, how 40% is looking like, because we have got some pictures to compare it. Regarding the different color fires, so if you've got a flame, it is important that the flame is visible. It doesn't be that, for example, if you play in black and white mode, yeah, you can also use black and white mode, for example, if you've got enough light. But then you know that the color isn't important anymore in that case. So you just need to see the flame, and then it will be triggered as well. What is not working if the flame is not visible? So if we don't see a flame, then for sure we cannot detect it, or I'm always saying the camera cannot detect it, because it then cannot analyze if it is a flame or not. So here it's just important that we see the flame, and as soon as the flame can be seen, it can also trigger. And in some cases we then need to use the black and white mode, but then this is also a thing where our people in the regions can help you out with when you've got these special questions or special applications in your head. Maybe you've got a picture or a video, which would be even the perfect thing, because then we are even better able to analyze really if it can detect or not. And every time when you've got some application in your head and you've got a photo of that area, you've got a video, you've got something, share that with my colleagues or with me, and then we can have a good evaluation, we can have the demonstration, and then it's easy to work out how to place the cameras and so on. So Anna, you need to stop me if I'm running out of time. I'm just
No, we are fine. There is one question about dust and dusty environment.
Yes.
How the dust will cover the lens of the camera, and maybe it can block the visibility. So what can we do in this case?
So what we can do, two things. So normally, because of the housing you use, the dust is not really sticking at the glass in front, because you've got a kind of shield in front of the glass, and it's normally constructed that way that the dust is not really sticking at the camera's field of view, also at the glass in front. The one thing is, you can go, if it is possible, up to the camera with a stairway or something, and just clean it with a yeah, I'm missing the English word for these easiest things, but you just clean it. Or you search for housing. So also there's third-party housings available which have kind of moving thing in front of the lens or in front of the glass, so that it is then cleaned if it is really, really dusty. And I know that also some areas where it is a lot dustier than at others, they have kind of a high wind pressure thing in front of the glass, so that it's kind of with wind every time blowing out. But to be honest, from the implications I know, I just heard one where they needed this, and the other ones, it was really that the glass is kind of constructed that way that it's not sticking fully at the glass in front. There's also another one, if the camera has some distance range. Yes. So depends a little bit also on which lens you are using. So the camera is coming with a standard lens, and that standard lens can cover up to 60 meters in a distance, so 60. And that means that in that distance, it can detect a flame which has a height of 50 centimeter, and that is based on the norm. So in the EN 54 norm, all the test fires are fixed. So it means that a fire detector needs to detect a flame of a 50 centimeter height. And this is what we took also as a reference. So, and this reference can be detected in 60-meter distance. And also available online, we've got an Excel tool, so a planning tool in Excel, and there you can plan the camera, and then you can also see with different opening angles how far you can go, how much you can see, and how many cameras would be needed then for the application. So that is kind of a really easy tool. Just set the camera and the mounting height and the opening angle, and then you can see what is covered.
So this tool is available in an online catalog, but
Yes.
in the follow-up mail, I will add the link and then you can find it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And then I also saw another one. Although it might not be certified, do we see insurance companies or end customers asking for it when a lot of value needs to be protected? Yes, especially that's the fact. So, and this is why I do not focus on any certification topics a lot in these webinars, because AVIOTEC as a video-based fire solution is really for these areas where all products which are certified are not helping or are not really fulfilling the need customers have. And this is what we hear from them. They need it in the outdoor environment because there is no fire detection available. They need it for dusty and humid applications because they don't know how to handle it with standard fire detection solutions, because they have got problems with maintenance, they have got problems with false alarms. So, and the fire detectors, which are then normed and certified, they are working perfectly in areas where, like, there are also industrial areas where they are working great, but in the areas where it's really dusty, they've got a problem. And this is where we are now stepping in and saying, we've got another solution, even though that it's not certified. It's not certified on EN, I have to say. It's VDS certified. So there is a third company, an independent company, stating that that product works. They are doing their tests. They are also doing test fire testings in their application, and they every time do it with the highest sensitivity or the highest robustness of the camera. So the lowest sensitivity and the highest verification time to have also the worst case built up in their testing. And this is what for me, and you maybe know it now from how I'm talking, I really like that we have a product, even though that EN and ISO do not have a certification or standard available, but it's helping. It's really supporting in these areas and places where we do not have another solution, where we, as a customer think like, what can we do? And also, as you said, insurance companies, they're really looking into that solution at the moment. So we are here also in discussions in some workshops also to see how we can go on together with that solution. Yeah, so that's really great. And I would say now it's the last question also in the chat. Can I understand correctly that all detection make camera, not recorder, and camera give the contact to the recorder? That's right. So the detection is done by the camera. You can, for example, as I do it normally at home, in the home office, I'm taking a camera, I'm connecting a PoE cable to the camera, then I'm connecting it to a PoE switch so that the camera has power. And from that switch, I'm just going to my laptop. And then I can perform every fire in front of the camera, opening a web page in my laptop, entering the IP address of the camera, and I see the alarm. I see the camera and I see that the camera is triggering that alarm. And then I could do some actions. I can also connect that relay at the camera, for example, to a fire alarm panel as an internal alarm, because it's not certified, but you can then have an internal alarm at the fire alarm panel, and you can then start countermeasures. You can start with your actions you've defined. Also, you can connect it to other video management systems like Genetec, Milestone, Bosch video management systems, and so on. And then also there you see the alarms, you can start a recording, you can analyze why the fire started, because you have the recordings, so you can directly see what was happening, and you can also think about countermeasures and think about what should be done in the future that the fire is not happening anymore. And the insurance company also knows what was the root cause, so what was really happening that the fire started, and for them it's much easier then to understand it. Okay, Anna, what's the timing?
We are in time, so really, I think that was the last question, and I cannot see more. But anyway,
I saw one.
You will see one.
I can, if the camera can zoom in. No, this is not possible. So it's just a fixed camera. You can once enter the opening angle, and then that's fixed. You can adjust it at the camera, but you cannot remotely zoom in, for example. And how does smoke detection work in low pressure areas where smoke is moving near the ground level? This is something where we would need to see exactly in that application how we could install the camera, because if we install the camera, that it is at ground level, the smoke, but for the camera it appears that the smoke is kind of moving up, maybe so from that side, and then it appears like that. This is something what we need to then see application wise how we would do that. So reach out to either that webpage what you still see, or myself, or also you might have people in your region already from Bosch you are in contact with. Contact them, they all know whom they can ask, or maybe they are the people to ask, and they are every time helpful also in asking or in answering you that questions.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
And thank you for all questions. Thank you once again, Teresa, for this great presentation. Within a couple of days, we will share the presentation with you together with a link to the webinar recording. We appreciate your attention and thank you very much for attending. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.